Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and beer. It's episode 324. I'm your host, Ben, here with Lucy.
Hello.
And Aadil.
Hey!
We're going to drink some beers. We're going to talk about some video games. Welcome, a returning Lucy as well. Been off for a few weeks.
2, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Loads of games, I imagine, to talk about. I think I make this joke every time you have had, 20 minutes off. Like, oh, you've completed all the games in those 20 minutes. It's fine.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, that I would have had no games to fucking talk about. So, in earnest, haven't played games until recently for about 2 months, though.
Yeah. Elden Ring just did a number on you and sort of...
It did. And then Tunic broke my soul. And, yeah. We'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's open some beers up first. Lucy, what are you going to be drinking this evening?
I'm going to be drinking a beer from Quantock Brewery. Forget where they are. Where are they? They're up in... Oh, they're down in Somerset. Yeah, down in Somerset. And this is the Loral Lager. It's a dry hopped lager, 4%. It says, our brew crew have been waiting for what feels like years to get started on this beauty. An expertly dry hopped lager, the perfect thirst quencher after a long day's work. Well, I don't think I've ever done one of those, but using a gently toned down version of our house lager base, a clean and neutral lager yeast, and a healthy addition of Loral T90 cold side. This drinkable delight flaunts floral and straw flavours with subtle citrus and melon aroma.
Nice.
Hops, just Loral hops.
Loral. Nice.
Aadil,
what are you opening first?
I'm having this one. Which one is it? This one. It is a Bristol Beer Factory IPA citrus with lactose, well above sea level. So it is huge citrus US IPA with added lactose for that full-bodied creamy goodness. From the garden to the beach, this India Pale Ale is ready to go. Naturally hazy. And it is a 440ml can and 5%.
Nice. Cool. I haven't had a new Bristol for ages.
Yeah, I saw it it was actually just in the corner store, and I was like, oh, you carry New Bristol now. Cool.
Nice. My beers this evening are also from the shop round the corner, Jobby, as I've had a very busy week and haven't been out to the bottle shop. But luckily, I get to drink some Arbors for this evening, and I'll try and tangentially tie it in and pretend like I prepared this. But the pub I went to last night having an Arbor tap takeover tonight, so that kind of makes sense in my head somehow. But I am going to drink a beer I think I've had on the podcast before, but one that I don't think I was that hot on from Arbor. So we'll see how it's fared now. This is GalAzacca, which is a New England IPA. Actually, both of the ones I've got are New England IPAs. This is 6.2%. It's a New England IPA brewed with Galaxy and Azacca hops. That's everything. They actually say on their cans, I didn't realise this, 100% cold chain. I don't know whether that's... It's an EU address, 100% cold chain. Maybe that's just the name of a place. I don't know whether that suggests that they're doing 100% cold chain. But who knows? So I will crack this open and we'll roll back round to you, Lucy, as you've got your nose in, you're sniffing away.
Yeah, it's very, very floral, as I said.
Mm-hmm. The floral laurel.
Yeah, yes. And I get that melon as well, which they alluded to on the can. It's got it's got a sweet, almost bubblegummy kind of estery smell to it. But yeah, quite light in its aroma. Straw coloured, bit of haze. It's not completely transparent. Nice bit of carbonation still going up. Yeah, it's a decent looking beer.
Nice.
There's a lot of pininess on the back of that.
Ooh.
Almost like what you'd expect for just like a pale ale, a New England beer, or a Westie.
Okay.
It's nice though.
Yeah.
It's refreshing. I mean, there's a lot of carbonation still going up, so I think the carbonation helps it to be refreshing. But yeah, it's got a nice like kind of piney, nettly finish to it. Not a ton of fruit. You're getting a little bit of subtlety more at the start of the finish, and then it kind of, as I say, like finishes with that like piney, nettly kind of flavor, which is a bit strange for a lager. Not really used to that as a lager. Usually, maybe getting more of a malty finish on most lagers that I'd expect, maybe ish. But yeah, it's really nice. It's really light. It's, as I say, it's got a nice bit of just subtle fruit at the start of it. I'd probably say something like lemon, not lemon, melon. But it's also got like, yes, a bit of hint of lemony freshness to it as well. But it's really nice. This is like perfect for like a really hot summer's day.
Yeah.
Like, could just smash this back easily. It's got like a really nice. You can feel like really good water quality in it. It's like very, very easy and very soft, despite having that carbonation that gives it that crispness and that freshness. So yeah, it's really well balanced. It's a nice little lager, and just for 4%, you're still getting quite a decent bit of flavor profile from the fruits at the start, and that kind of like slightly bitter, more piney finish at the end. So
nice.
Yeah,
that sounds really good.
It is. It is. I bought a box from them because I don't really think I've ever had Quantock Brewery before. So I bought it from Bruiser, their subscription thing. And I've just seen that one of the beer shops that I frequent to get my cans and stuff like that start stocking them. So I'll check them out a bit more. The ones that weren't in the box, we'll see if I'm guessing they put like usually put a core range into like to put their best foot forward on the Bruiser subscription boxes, and not necessarily their newest beers. So it'll be good to try some of them on newer releases.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Good. Aadil, we'll jump to you.
Yeah. So I'm surprised because it is relatively clear for a self-advertised creamy hazy IPA. I mean, it's got some haze, right? But you can definitely still see my fingers through this sort of straw gold color. It's got a really lovely citrus and tropical nose. Think like, I want to say like passion fruit with some lemon on top, or lemon with some passion fruit on top. You immediately notice that creaminess from the lactose, so
okay.
It's got a lovely mouthfeel. First impression is also that lemon's coming through. And a bit of tangerine almost. I think that's the tropical and the lemony sort of interplaying. It's got a lovely bitterness, slightly pithy bitterness on the finish, but it sort of isn't too strong. And again, there's that sweetness coming through with that tangerine-y type taste. They sort of take turns going back and forth on the finish. And it finishes reasonably wet in the mouthfeel, but rather not dry, I should say, not necessarily wet. And it, wow, it's. Sorry, I'm just thrown by how the lactose is not as apparent as I was thinking it would be. It's just making it feel a bit thicker. It's bringing out some sweeter notes in the citrus, supporting that the difference between the citrus and the tropical flavorings, and making it. I don't even know where I put the thing. I'm sure the flavor text said something like creamy goodness, and the key there is it's not too creamy. Like it does pretty much tastes like you would think a beer looking like this would, except it's just a bit more full on it, and in that fullness is bringing all those tastes together. I'm getting a bit more of a pithiness now that I think I've gotten used to the rest of the flavor on my palate. So there is a moment of like almost rind bitterness. I'm curious if that'll also fade in as my palate acclimatizes. But this is really refreshing. Great for a hot day. And for a lactose-based beer, and like it clearly has some sweetness, and it's a bit thick. It's not a lot of lactose, and so it's still quite refreshing. It's not. I was kind of worried it might be a little too thick, a little too sweet, even though it's an IPA for like, oh, it's a hot day. This is again, that lactose is just literally just thickening it out, just bringing some of those flavors together and a bit forward. It's definitely a beer you wouldn't be taking big slugs of because it just has a bit more robustness, but that's about it. Like you could still drink this really quickly. It's still an IPA, still got that lovely tropical and citrus type zing to it. Yeah, it's really good. It's oh yeah, like I said, I'm mostly I'll have to get back to you on how that bitterness ends up, because it sort of was at a reasonable bit, then it's a bit too pithy. Now I'm hoping it'll. Well, I'm not being pithy, but it is pithy. I'm hoping it'll settle a little, because it's a bit too much like rind, I guess, is where I'm at right now. Yeah, but again, that's just one of the small tastes, and it's still quite a tasty beer. Yeah.
Good. I've got a couple of similar notes in this beer to yours. I cannot remember what I thought about GalAzacca when I've had it previously, which must be a year or so ago, maybe. It was around about when they'd first brewed it and released it as kind of like a new beer. It is, as you kind of like, it's almost a solid block. Poured with, when I poured it, the head was kind of this, but that dissipated really quickly, and it's got a very light nose, a little hint of orange in there, in that nose, but not too sweet. But in the flavour, you're getting this not massively different flavour, but you're hit with a lot more than the nose kind of gives. So the nose is quite light, and you expect, oh, okay, maybe it's going to be a little bit of a lighter beer. It's maybe going to be, a little bit more kind of like squashy or something, trying to do a bit more of a juicy kind of New England. But the flavour's actually really big, which is great. And it is almost like you've bit into an orange. You've got a nice juicy orange. You've bit into it, and you're getting a lot of that flesh and a little bit of the rind as well, if you've kind of bit down a little bit too far. But the sweetness isn't quite there, and I can't, it's almost like I bit into an orange, and it's just not quite as sweet. It just has maybe lost a little bit. It's not quite very fresh. It's a little old, and I can't quite work out whether it's closer to something like a riper kind of melon sort of flavour. There's a little bit of earthiness in there, and it's the absence of that sweetness which is kind of throwing me off, because I'm sort of thinking there should be something here. There should be just even a tiny little hint of sweetness, just to kind of cut through this little bit more earthy kind of flavour in there. Something that's a little bit more fruity, perhaps. But I like it, and again, I can't tell you why I didn't like it previously, or maybe not that I didn't like it, but that I thought, okay, this is, it's all right. It's not great, but I like this now, and I don't know whether that's just a change in taste, whether they've done anything to the beer instead. It's just that a different time of year potentially. It's the first beer of the day. It hasn't followed something else. All kinds of reasons why I may feel slightly differently about it now.
I mean, that's why, people don't like to review on like Untapped and stuff like that, because, there's so many different variables going into, your first try of a beer, that particular day. And sometimes it's best to, just give a beer another try unless it's like god awful and you know that you don't like it. Like
Yes.
it's like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know a banana pastry stout, which I would never like. So yeah, but yeah, it's good that you
That's
give
fair.
it another a second stab, another go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose the only we don't drink a huge amount of like beers day in day out that are the same beer. We're not buying a 4-pack of X core range beer from some brewery and drinking that every other day kind of thing. We try lots and lots of different beers. So as you say, Lucy, it's great to kind of go back and experience that, because it will always, the more beers and the more flavors you're getting, the more your palate will change and expand. The more you might be able to pick out certain flavors. And before I might have gone, well, I'm not picking out very much. It's this kind of day. I'm only getting the earthy notes, which we've derided a little bit on this change with double IPAs and things like that. And this is 6.2%, so it's not massive, but it's got a few of those earthy notes. But because there's a little bit extra going on, and I'm able to get that today, even though I can't describe it very well, I'm still getting that flavor coming through today. That it just changes how I perceive the beer. So yeah, as you say, it's always worth going back to something. Unless it's Steady Rolling Man and it's solid every single time you drink it, and there's got to be other beers around the country which are just that kind of like solid every single time. Every time you have them. What's the Don Zoco one? Northern Hellers. Yeah. That's like a solid beer every single time you have it. There are some really, really good beers out there that just nail it. But yeah, so I'm glad I've come back to this. Again, might not be on my list of beers to buy every single time. But for today, I'm enjoying it. So yeah.
Excellent.
We shall drink these beers and move on with our conversations to talk about video games, or whatever we want to this week. What does everyone want to talk about? Who wants to jump in? Who's got things to chat?
Oh, jump in. Since I haven't been here for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got quite a big, hefty handheld through the post.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
How's that going?
It's good. And it's got a little crank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
And it needs charging.
Nah.
Yeah, my little play date, which... Oh yeah, you can see the screen up on there. Because my biggest knock against it so far is it doesn't have a backlight. So it's like going back to 1990 with the Game Boy.
The Game Boy had a backlight. It just was awful. I know, because I have one right there.
Mine's there.
The backlight came later, didn't it?
Yeah,
much later.
Do you still have battery power? Yeah, you could. I mean, you can't see this at night.
You people. See this? This is a Game Boy.
Yes, it is Game Boy, yes. Game Boy is Game Boy.
Yeah.
It has the contrast slider, and it has a light there and a light there that's very shite. But it technically is backlit. Yeah.
It's...
I mean,
I'm just going to play tennis.
Also, I need to find out what the best glue is to put the face back on, because it fell out in transit.
Also, I talk over the Tetris noise because we'll get copyright strikes. But Nintendo like fucking harsh on anyone on YouTube. Like, how dare you play 1 second of anything Nintendo related?
I'll send you the eBay page where I bought the acetate
Oh really?
rim. Yeah.
Because I have the thing.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to put it back on without. I don't want to use too harsh a glue on the OG plastic.
I'll send you the eBay because it was like £3 or something.
Yeah, you almost want like a mounting spray or something like that, but to be very specific in its areas.
Yeah. Oh, that's Link. No.
Awakening.
Yeah, that's the one. That one.
You know, the Dreamfish one that I recently beat on the Switch, and was like, "Oh, I wish it was this." And then I went back to Canada, and I was like, "This."
Have you played it since bringing it back?
I haven't, because I just more recently played Link's Awakening. Also, I need to put batteries in the thing.
So the play date, Lucy. I see you've got a lovely little flip case on it as well. Did that come as part of the?
You have to buy it separately, I think.
Yeah.
It was so long ago.
From them? So it's like an accessory that they make.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
And there'll probably be like third-party accessories that have a backlight or something like that, a little torch that you can shine on it. But yeah, it's a really well-made thing. I mean, you'd expect it for. Again, I don't know how much it cost. Was it like £200 or something like that? I can't remember.
Was it that much?
Or maybe it was 150 or something like that. But it's basically, you know, a premium item. Like £150 isn't cheap.
Yeah, it was $179 USD, so I can't imagine it'd be
maybe 150.
Yeah. So, but it's got a nice little bit of weight to it. It's got a really nice form factor. The buttons are excellent. Like the D-pad's got a nice click to it, as do the two-face buttons. The crank, which I haven't used a lot, to be honest.
I was gonna ask,
but it feels good. I think. I mean, it's certainly a gimmicky thing.
Yeah.
It is like a very boutique kind of platform, which I'll get into like sort of what I believe like the community around this will be, but it feels like a quality product, like just the way it's made. And the software's really good. I mean, it's all just like 1-bit kind of graphics. It's very like not matrixy like kind of graphics, and so this will be like very niche product for people who people who like me are old and like the things the way they were, and really likes like the kind of creativity that comes with limitations. And I think this is exactly like a product for me. It may not necessarily be for other people. Like the when they announced the developers who were making games for it or have games in development for it, it was like, yep, check Lucas Pope, yep, check Zach Gage, check. Yeah, these are all creators that I love. And by the way, Zach Gage's latest game, Not Words, I think it should be on Android, iOS, and iOS. Very good.
Look.
I just bought it straight away because I love his games, and it's just like one of those things that it just becomes a daily ritual, and this is another one of those. Not Words with a K.
Yeah, Quantock.
Yeah, I think it's on Steam as well, but definitely best place to play would be on a mobile platform. But yeah, it's a really, the design form and form factor is very, very nice. It's one of those that you can literally put it in your pocket. It isn't like, I don't know, the Switch, everyone says hyperbolically like, yeah, you can put it in your pocket and go anywhere. This one you literally can.
Yeah.
And even though the screen isn't backlit, it looks amazing in just natural light anyway. The screen is really sharp. I haven't played many of the games yet. I'll get into why later.
Okay.
But it's 2022, and as soon as I got my Playdate, what did I do? I go to the itch.io store, and I download the Playtris, which is a Tetris game which someone just put out on itch.io. And it's like, that's what I love about this thing the most, that it's just so easy to sideload games onto it.
That's nice.
You literally you can go to the Play. You don't have to even plug it into your computer. You can go to the Playdate website, and there's they have a page where it's just sideload.
Oh,
you
wow!
Download files from like itch.io, and you just drag and drop.
Oh, that's
amazing.
amazing.
And then next time you go on your Playdate, it's like new games are available.
So like it just you've logged into your account on their website, and it kind of just syncs up with the machine, and that will just download stuff based upon whatever you've got in your library.
absolutely, yeah. And it does a cute
Nice.
little
That's
like
very good.
3DS thing where you get a new game, it shows a little present and you open
Yeah,
the
yeah,
bow and stuff. But yeah, it's so seamless, and
Mm.
that's what I love about it. It's like just went on the itch.io page, search for Playdate, tag, and it's like, oh, what's this? What's this? What's this? And it's just weird little tchotchkes of weird experimental things, and it's like just drag and drop, and you're on your way. So that's what I love about this platform. It's just gonna be so much homebrew, creative little things on it, and I think people maybe it won't be supported long term, like by developers looking to get paid and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be just an extension of like people who getting into game dev or just making small things on the side, just putting things out on Playdate. I think there'll be a not considerable, but a decent enough size community to keep people within that kind of space and making games for it. So, and yeah, I think that's the best thing about it. The season 1 games, when you buy it, I think, which is good. It's like the price of admission. You've bought the hardware, and now you get season 1, and there's going to be a season 2 at least of just 24 games. You get 2 new ones each week.
Oh
So
wow!
it'll be 12 weeks in the first season. Depending on when you get it, that's when your
Right.
season starts. So some people may already be in season,
Oh, interesting.
like four weeks through
That's
season
really
1 or
clever. So
something.
you're
Yeah,
still getting drip-fed content, which will
yeah,
make you want to use it at least for that 3 months,
yeah,
which
exactly.
is all you kind of like. It's disposable income, right? Like video game disposable income. Like if it enthralls you for most of 3 months, even at $150, that's pretty good,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that'll help justify buying season 2. I bet that's really smart.
yeah. I think I'm not sure if season 2 is paid or free at this point, but you at least get season 1. As you say, it's enough to tide you over, and it's enticing enough to put up that 150 price tag at the start. So, but yeah, I think this platform is just going to live on in, as I say, that very niche homebrew community. I mean, just seeing stuff like someone, this was on Twitter, so I don't know if they actually put this out in the wild or whatever. Just a video of like, oh, there's Soldier Boy dancing, and when you the music starts, and it's like it
Nice.
slows up and starts down, and it's just like okay, just weird rubbish like that where it's like, yeah, I'll check this out in for 2 minutes because it literally takes 30 seconds to sideload it onto it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's like got open source development, so like anyone can make games for this as long as they've got like some programming knowledge. Yeah, and that's free. It's like you just go on their website and it's like, here's the dev kit, download it, make games
Nice.
for it. So
It's very. It seems very maker friendly in,
yeah,
in what
yeah,
it's sort of trying to do, without it being kind of, yes, we've commissioned some people to, game devs to come along and make some stuff for this, so we can have a reasonable kind of initial lineup for games and releases and stuff. And it's almost kind of like the now, I suppose, abandoned Apple Arcade kind of thing, where they were kind of like, right, we're launching this. We kind of want to have games coming out every X number of weeks or whatever.
yeah.
And these guys have gone, right, well, let's make it, as you said, Lucy, a little bit more boutique, rather than us trying to look at that long-term thing and then fizzling out. Let's go, right, we'll do this set amount of stuff. Right, great, we've got it sorted. We've got that stuff. Now let's think about what we're going to do for the next set of stuff. And whilst we're doing that, let's just put the dev kit for people to make and play and do stuff for it. Because that's how it will live for 5, 8, 10 years rather than 18 months.
Year. Yeah.
And it'll be like the Vita when the Vita's dead. But there's like one developer just saying, I made this really cool thing in the year 2022, and it's like everyone flocks to it.
Yeah,
It's like the last Vita
Please don't kill the store.
game.
I just want to sell 3 copies, okay?
But yeah, I'll probably update more on the seasonal games and the different games that are on there, because still early days for the platform. So I mean, in fact, backlight. I'm really only playing it during the day. In Otherwise, my eyes will just drop out. So yeah, but
Nice.
that is the play date. I'll speak about it more in the future.
Good.
But yeah, I really like it. It's just a cute little thing, and that's I'm happy to have, because it brings me nostalgia. All these pixels. So yeah. Now we want to roll on to a small handheld that I got in the post.
Oh, yeah. Is this? It's like the
Rather than
month
the
of
big
handheld.
It's handheld season. I
That's the
got
one
my
I was waiting
Steam
for.
Deck. Yeah,
Yeah.
got the Steam Deck. And I love it. It's my baby.
Yeah,
I've
I mean,
thrown
how do
my
you
Switch out the window.
how do you balance your handheld time between the two?
Well, that's the thing. I got the Steam Deck last week, and that
Which
has
is
meant that I haven't really touched my Playdate, and that's
yeah,
why I
that's
haven't
fair.
checked out this week's games.
I'm very jealous. Mine ETA is still after October 2022.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you should be jealous. I was jealous of people who had it
Oh, which
from April.
which model did you end up getting again? Mid
The
tier?
64.
Oh yeah, that's the one I.
The lower,
Yeah,
the lower, the smaller storage one.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart because you can just buy a 1 TB
I
drive.
did. Well, I didn't even buy that either. I thought I had an extra micro SD somewhere.
Oh,
But
I just mean
don't.
like the SSD you can get
Oh yeah.
because
I
it's
know
the
what you mean.
same
Yeah.
SSD that comes in like Microsoft Surface and stuff. So
Mhm.
you can get a used SSD by like a Bjorked Surface for cheap on eBay, and then for half the price of the difference. And unless you really wanted the fancy carrying case, it was just going to be cheaper.
Was there a fancy carrying case? Because they gave me a carrying case. It's quite nice. It just
Uh,
comes with it. Oh, I didn't pay
I
it.
can't. Let me
There
look
might
up.
be a fancy
Oh.
one. I don't know.
Maybe you got
It's,
the fancy carrying case because you brought it within a certain time period or something.
No, there's the carrying case in the 350-pound version. The 460-pound version has the faster storage, the NVMe instead of the eMMC. So that's the thing that you could like gray market a drive and you would notice performance increases. But again, unless you need to carry all your games with you, you could just do a small NVMe for again less than half the difference. It has a carrying case and a profile bundle, but the 571 has fastest storage, premium anti-glass, and an exclusive carrying case, along with a virtual keyboard theme and a Steam community profile bundle.
Wonderful.
But yeah, I don't know what's so great about the exclusive carrying case.
It just says Steam Deck Wanker on the front of it or something.
Yeah, right.
Probably. But yeah, it's really good. It's even though it is a PC, quote unquote,
I mean,
it has a really good user experience, like right out the gate. I think obviously it would help. Maybe I'm coming from a privileged position where I use Steam. Maybe someone doesn't, and this is like their first foray into PC games. Maybe it's not as intuitive, but as someone who knows the ecosystem, it's very seamless and very easy to use. And that's all I've been playing for like last week.
I mean, that makes total sense. I think I would struggle to not want a game in bed.
I mean, that's all I've been doing. I finished a lot of games. Like, I didn't play any games for like 2 months, and now I finished like 5 games in a week. Bear in mind they are smaller games.
Can you speak to what you played?
Let me get up my spreadsheet. I played Strange Horticulture, where you own your own plant shop. It's like a puzzle game where you just own your own plant shop and you're identifying plants. Thumbs up. ElecHead, which is a puzzle game. I was specifically waiting for the Steam Deck to play this game.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Double thumbs up for
Nice.
that one. I played the Apeture Desk Job game, which is just the tutorial made by Valve set in the Portal universe. That's 8 thumbs down because it makes me wish that Valve made games because they're so good at it and
but apparently they're good at hardware and software.
Yeah,
given that that's a Linux machine in your hands.
I know.
I mean, we can get onto a bigger topic discussion about Valve.
Mhm.
What are Valve actually doing? They employ fucking thousands of people, and
Steam algorithm.
What are they all doing?
I think they're building like an atomic bomb or something. I mean, so what else are they doing? They're doing something evil.
They're turning Gabe Newell into the like Warhammer 40,000 living emperor, aren't they? Just building him into a throne so he'll live forever.
Yeah. Something like that in Aperture Desk Job, so maybe it's foreshadowing. So. But yeah, shame that they don't make more games because it was really, really good half an hour. Ynglet, which is you play as a sexual space dolphin. I added the sexual in. I think it's just a space dolphin. But it's sort of like this very abstract platformer, and it's really fun. Check that one out. It's spelled Ynglet. A lot of people liked it last year.
Ynglet.
Ynglet. I played a game, very short experience, 15 minutes, called Swallow the Sea, which is sort of like it's Flow, isn't it, from that game company where you're like this sea creature and you get bigger over time. Sort of like that, and the Mutant Blob game where you're just ingesting things and you get bigger over time. That's a weird game. It's very grotesque looking and sort of got like some Nighthog kind of look to it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And Raven's Hike was the latest game that I've played, which is a game, I don't even know how I came across it, very small game, but it's sort of got like it's like a single screen puzzle game, like kind of got like, sort of looks like Celeste, but the movement is very different. You basically have this grappling hook, and I was using the D-pad, you can use joystick, but it's like, okay, you like grapple hook to one wall and grapple hook to another, and it's like
it's very cardinal direction-y.
Yeah, and I really enjoy it. It's like one of my favorites.
I really like the style of it. It's kind of
got great music as well,
retro-ish, but like it's like a mix between like OG Prince of Persia and cell shading. Nice. It looks like.
Yeah, and just put it on your wish list because it'll be going very cheap, I imagine. Because it's only like,
I mean, it's already only £4. So.
Yeah, but it's a really it's like, it's one of those games where it's got Twitch-based, gameplay to it, but it's also, you can figure out, you have time in some of the levels, have time to like plot out your route. You basically have to collect these like 5 blue coins in order for the door to open in the level, and it's like, okay, I need to zip across here, zip across there, zip across there, and it's like, gets progressively harder, like with different obstacles in your way and spike traps and stuff like that, and it's, I really enjoyed it. Again, don't know how I came across it, but it's very cool. But yeah, those are the games that I played.
You also played Escape from Monkey Island, it seems.
Oh yeah, I was just testing out a few games to see if they worked, because I was like, does this boot into like
I was gonna ask how much, because like I know I would just be like loading all kinds of random things. Like I would try Elden Ring on the damn Steam Deck just to see how it looked.
Yeah.
Felt.
Given Elden Ring runs quite poorly usually, I don't know how it would be.
I find it okay.
I don't know.
I
have
a 2070. Oh yeah, okay.
It gets rough. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm currently playing one of the Mac Venture games, The Uninvited, and I want like one of those games like to come to like the Playdate. I think that's like a perfect game for like one of the something like a adventure game to come to. But yeah, I'm loving it. And it's like really light. It's
Is
surprisingly
it?
light. It looks huge, but it when you hold it, you're like, this is way lighter than I thought it'd be. You know. And
How is the like gripping and playing for longer periods? Because that's one of the things people said maybe was not great, but
it's great for me. My Switch, my hands cramp up like immediately, even with the grip that I bought from. In fact, I'm not going to mention it because they recently put out a really sexist tweet.
Oh
It's
no!
like, and it's like maybe don't buy from them. But yeah, even using that grip, my hands cramp up very quickly. Whereas with this, yeah, I have none of those issues. My hands are bigger than probably most people's, so it's like maybe that helps. But yeah, I imagine if you have small hands, it might be a bit more of a difficulty. But for me, it's like very good. Like, I mean, look, my hands are huge, so it feels good for me.
How do
like, I'm having to, like,
I was say using those back buttons much and stuff.
I haven't found the need yet. So that might cause a problem because, as I said, yeah, like I'd have to do the claw grip
a little bit,
yeah. But for everything else, it's good.
Man, you just imagine
really...
if they just moved those buttons like an inch in, so you're more like, you know, you can be kind of more like this rather than like that. It's kind of, if it's just a tiny bit, but I guess they've got to try and appeal to like,
the average
4 billion hand sizes.
Yeah. The thing is that I'm guessing you'd probably use that if you're playing, you know, if you're a nerd and you play games on PC and you need like to play Dota or something like that. It's like, oh, I need this shortcut, and I'm just a massive nerd.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would still want your mouse though. Is the problem?
Yeah, and there's you know the mouse controls and
yeah. How are the haptic pads? You had to use them at all,
yeah,
or I guess
yeah,
just
I
navigation, right? Because you sort of windows about sometimes, right?
Yeah, like in the Uninvited, which I'm playing now, it's like I changed the layout, so it's like, okay, I think when it first loaded in, it, you know, automatically set to as if I was playing on a gamepad, and it's like, no, I just want to use like a mouse and just change it to a mouse layout. But yeah, it's got like, yeah, the haptic feedback is really nice. It's very subtle, but it's noticeable. And
did you ever use one of these?
No.
Okay, because I was curious, because I think this flop of a hardware thing that Valve did. If you're not watching this on video, I'm holding a Steam controller. I think the haptic feedback on the pads were really good. It's just the overall placement of your hands and stuff wasn't perfect, but also you kind of got used to it. Like before I got an Xbox, this was my controller and it was fine, and then I got an Xbox and was like, oh, I can just plug this in. It's better than fine. But like when I was in big picture mode or whatever, and like using the pad for the haptics, it was very easy to do sort of tight movements because you had that feedback on touchpad.
Yeah.
And whilst we're on control pads, so I get it out of the box. It's one of the reasons why I haven't plugged this fucking thing in yet. It just doesn't quite feel great.
Google Stadia,
like it's
controllers.
Yeah, I was just like, could you tell the viewers what that monstrosity is?
I mean, I have to think
Speaking
for
of
a moment.
failed innovations,
it just doesn't quite feel good because again, on the pads, my fingers would have to be kind of up like this rather than being able to be kind of, you know, there. I feel like they'd be kind of back, so you're already kind of a little bit like on it. And so, whereas with the Xbox pad, yes, I'll unplug it so I don't have to use it.
I was going to say, you have an Xbox pad up there, right?
A little bit more, you know, you'd still kind of be like this, but they're so smooth in the way that they're formed that actually you sit like this a lot better
Yeah, you
on
can
it.
easily like second segment of your
Yes,
fingers
completely.
push
Whereas
the triggers.
this just feels a little bit like they're not like, in an awkward place. They just feel a little bit
Yeah.
of an odd thing, and like pad design is so difficult to get right. So for the Steam Deck to kind of be in a position at least where you're feeling comfortable, even more difficult for a handheld. So yeah, to be in a place where you feel comfortable with playing it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried anything like intensive, like a FPS or anything like that, with controls, obviously, rather than using a mouse and keyboard.
Oh god.
But yeah, but yeah, I haven't tried anything too intensive. But just from like just the kind of games that I want to play, like I think bigger games I prefer to play them on a console.
Yeah.
But my PC at this point has just become my work PC, and it's like I've never been someone who likes playing on PC more than anything else. I've always been a console person, so having this, it's just like best of both worlds. I get to play all the games that I can find for cheaper on Steam, or that it's just like I have my Switch is just like might as well just throw it in the bin. The only reason I haven't thrown it in the bin is because I've got like £100 worth of credit on there that I haven't used, and it's like as soon as I use that up on like 2 games, like Zelda or something.
But does it then? Is it going to make that what the Switch came out? And everyone's like, oh, it's a handheld. It's full of indie games. It's brilliant. Suddenly with this coming out, does the Nintendo Switch become more like the PlayStation ecosystem, where people are picking it up for those exclusive games rather than everything?
Well, you can just emulate them very easily anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But the Switch is just old at this point. This will eventually get old. It's just the thing is that I don't think Nintendo haven't put out another handheld because of the chip shortage. I think it's because the Switch is selling well, and they're just a strange company.
I mean, there's no reason you should think that Nintendo was secretly building a machine to replace the thing that's selling well.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, that happens, like new things come out and they're better and stuff like that. It's all iteration in this space. So, but yeah, the Switch is a perfectly good platform. It's very good. I really enjoyed playing on that for a few years, but I'm getting increasingly sick of strange companies doing strange things and having closed ecosystems, and it's like I just want to play weird shit on my platform. Just let me do it.
I mean, I think that's the bizarre thing about Valve being basically the default PC space. So it is like a monopoly. But the thing is, even though it sucks because there's so much crap that they let through, because of that, it's really flexible.
Yeah.
And it'll only be a matter of time before you can, if you want to. I mean, like you can already install Windows on the thing, the Steam Deck, which is important because then you can play non-Steam games, because it's a Linux backbone that does a lot of emulation, which means that you can't just be like, oh, I'll put Epic on and play all my Epic games. There's some hoops and jumps, and obviously the performance under Windows. Some people you can YouTube it. There's some like A/B testing that's kind of remarkable of how the same hardware running their Linux optimized for video game system is just like high performance games versus putting Windows on the PC and playing it off of native clients. It's kind of wild how Linux is out PCing PC. But yeah,
it's like
the thing is, that's what I think they get right, which is even though they're the de facto PC gaming platform, but also it's a PC. We don't get to lock you out. So even though this is a proprietary thing, the whole Valve, everything is replaceable, fixable. They have the agreement with iFixit so that things just work. I hate monopolies, and Valve has done some weird things in the past, but they've approached this thing with all the right moves, right?
Yeah.
And so
that's what I really like. It's like right now I'm just playing the experience that like Valve wants most users to have right out the box, and it's very good. But it's like, okay, I can just do something as simple as change the frame rate in a game, which you can't do on Switch, let's say, or
Yeah.
change the button layout, or try and fix a broken Joy-Con, which is impossible because the little screws to get out are impossible to take
Yeah.
out, and stuff like that. It's just
Or like putting Windows on to boot into it off your
Yeah.
micro SD, and then having itch.io and retro
Yeah, but-
emulation and all that.
Yeah.
Because it's your goddamn computer that they sold you, right?
Yeah.
They sold you a computer, and you get to do computer things, and some of it is difficult, but like they came up with like, here's how you install Windows.
yeah, because
Rough and ready. Like that's what you
I
do.
was just thinking, oh, could I play Game Pass games on there? And Microsoft literally have a support page for this is how you play Game Pass games on your Steam Deck, and it's like, thank you. I mean, bit of tinkering, but it's like it's there. The information's there. There's no, back route thing where you're gonna have to void your entire console and stuff like that. It's just it has that support, so it's like as soon as I exhaust my backlog, which at this rate, if I continue on this pace, I will have no Steam games to play. It's like then I'll look into like, okay, should I play some emulated games on here? Should I download RetroArch on here? Should I play Game Pass games on here? It's like
endless possibilities.
Yeah,
endless, I am super jealous.
You should be. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say that. I would like to tell you.
It's not long. October's not far away.
Don't say that. Oh my god.
It'll honestly fly by.
It's already fucking May. I mean, it's already 2022.
Yeah. So it's 2022 with basically June. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, past halfway. So, but yeah, it's really good for 1.0 hardware. I think they've done a really good job.
Nice. Good. Excellent. Good. We'll return to this chat more about Steam Deck and the, I suppose at least, and the play date as well, and the games that are coming out on.
I haven't yet played Dorfromantik on it. I downloaded it. I haven't yet played it. I want to see what that's like because I like that game.
Ben talked about it a bit last week. But was pulling some of the chat until you could join. Which one are you going to bring to the Bristol Craft Beer Festival weekend? Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, not even, I guess, because you're not taking... So for me, because I don't own a car, like, me traveling between cities involves buses and trains, so there's always like, maybe I should bring my Switch and play for an hour. And I was in that mindset. But of course, that would be very dangerous, because you would be driving, most likely.
Yes.
These things are going to be in a hermetically sealed bubble until they're more available.
That's
fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until I can walk into Curry's and just buy one after I spill beer on one of them. So.
Let's finish episode 324 there and return to our drinks. Lucy, I see that you're just finishing your beer. How was it?
Yeah, really nice. As I said, it's got that nice lemony, zesty kind of freshness to it, and it's a really good lager. As I say, it doesn't quite have that like kind of malty backbone or depth that some lagers have. It's far more light, but with that lightness, I think it's because it's dry hopped. I think that's why it's got like a lot of that flavor on it still. So even though it may not have all that body, it's still got a lot of flavor to it, which is nice. But yeah, really good. Really impressed with that one.
Good. Aadil, how about your beer?
So that I told you to check back in with me. That bitterness stopped being pithy about, I would say, a third of the way through.
Okay.
I lost all that sort of it's kind of rindy, and now it just has a light, reasonably long but light, bitter finish. It just got better. The lactose continued to smooth out and join those sort of tropical and citrus flavors. And then, like I said, there's just a hint of sweetness on top of that lingering bitterness. but the finish is so long that, like, as Lucy was talking about her beer was when I finally had the last sip, and I kind of just finished it. I could have split it to 2 because I just didn't need a lot to refresh the taste, and to have the whole taste curve took so long that it's very easy to nurse the beer in a way that I didn't notice that I was like, oh yeah, it's been an hour and I'm still not quite done. Just because it has such a nice long taste, and that bitterness isn't like in your face, but it just stayed sort of at that medium light level the whole time, and it's really nice. It's a nice touch of bitter that just makes you like, oh yeah, I've recently had a sip of beer, and it's like, oh, actually it's been 5 minutes. You didn't recently have a sip of beer, kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah, really, really good.
Good. The GalAzacca for me, it mellowed a little bit, which was nice. It wasn't quite as sort of earthy, but yeah, it's just like it's hard to define, at least for my palate, what those flavors actually were without saying it's kind of like an orange without the sweetness. You know, you're getting a little bit of the pithiness, you're getting a little bit of the sort of the rind, you're getting a little earthiness, and it's maybe a little bit more melony, maybe a little bit more grapefruity perhaps than orange. I'm stripping away those kind of like those sweet notes as well, but I enjoyed it as I drank through it. I didn't get to a point in the beer where I thought, well, this is just, it's a bit rubbish, or I don't not enjoying it as much as maybe I have previously. So yeah, I'm happy with GalAzacca in its current state, or at least my current state, depending on whether that's changed or I've changed. Who knows? If you'd like to tell us, dear friends, about the beers that you're drinking and the games that you're playing, whether there's a beer that you've returned to after some time and suddenly felt completely differently about it, you can get us at Tanked Up Cast on the socials. I'm at Nova_47. Lucy is
at GalAzacca. No, Juicy Loose. No. Sorry, every time you said that beer, I just thought of the football team.
That's fair.
Fair.
What happened
Juicy
to
Loose,
GalAzacca? Where are they these
They're
days?
probably going to be in the Europa Conference League with us next year, so we'll see them soon.
And Aadil, how do people get hold of you?
I'm at the OmniArc on all of the things.
Perfect. You can join us all over on Twitch, where you should come and see us recording live. We're going to roll straight into episode 325. So you get 2 for 1 when you come over onto the Twitch on a Thursday night these days. We've switched back to a Thursday night. Or you can go to our YouTube page or outoflives.net to look at all of the other things, Aadil's First Look streams, articles that people put up, reviews that we stick up as well. You should do that. Come and support us. It'd be really good to see you. Or hit one of us up and we will ping you a link to our Discord server where you can come and chat to us all the time about what you're playing, what you're drinking, just how your day's been. Check in with some friends, have some fun, have a chat. For this episode,
YouTube people, like, comment, subscribe, and ring that fucking bell or whatever people say.
Yeah. The bell. Nice. For 324, we've been tanked up. Goodbye.
Ciao.
What's that song? Ring my bell.
Oh, ring,
Like the
ring,
70s
ring,
disco
ring my
classic.
bell.
Is that even by?
www.outoflives.net